Folks, hello. It is time for some more hobby nightmares. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let's jump right in, shall we? I've just ordered a new webcam. Supposedly, it's very, very, very good. So, my mobile phone was working really nicely, because it's a brand new one. But for model painting, this one's basically specially designed for that. So there will be more model painting streams coming up. So hopefully that'll get you excited and ready to paint along with me as we head on into the summer. That'll be an awesome thing to do, especially with the natural light in here. It's quite a nice, bright office, so it'd be a shame for that to go to waste and not show you some of the models I've been working on as we gear up for Exile Fest, which is on the 21st of June here in Liverpool. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, let's move on to some hobby nightmares, shall we? With Big Dan. How's it going, Big Dan? He says, "Hi North, Big Dan here, which you can call me. I've been listening to you for about 8 months now, around the time this story happened." Around this time is when the story happened. Okay. "The first video I watched of yours being your worst customer you ever served rant." Oh my god, yeah. Dude, I've got a few of those. So I've been communicating with an old colleague recently, where we've been going back and forth over war stories at Games Workshop. I've got a few of those worst customers. I might have to do another video. But anyway, if you'd like to see that video, comment and I'll do it. Alright. "I thought I'd share a funny experience I had in July of 2024 at my first ever tournament experience. It was a 2-day tournament and I was on my third and final game of the day, going 0-2 and wasn't having the greatest of times." Yeah, dude, going to a tournament and wanting to just win isn't a good thing to do. Go to every tournament, your first tournaments, thinking you're gonna go 0-3 or 0-5, right? And you'll have a better time. "Around 2 tables to the right of me, back 1 row, so same general flow, if that makes sense. Nope, but I'm guessing tournament players will get that. But facing the opposite direction to me was a guy, to put it delicately, who had some extra packaging that I'd noticed earlier in that day." Right, so he's a fat dude, okay. "All of a sudden, everybody with their heads down in games, I hear a large crash coming from the aforementioned area. I turned my head at the right time to see this guy halfway into falling to the floor, hands reaching out. He had been sat on a plastic chair and the metal support connected from its back to seat, and it turns out it couldn't support him so much that he had snapped the metal from the seat chair under his own weight, hence him hitting the deck pretty hard. My opponent seemingly knew the guy, as he immediately went over to him and said his name. 'Are you alright, mate?' I don't remember the guy's name. What made me feel worse was that everybody around me immediately looked over naturally, and all appeared incredibly serious and concerned. On the other hand, I was struggling not to laugh." Dude, I thank God you said that, because I'm such a horrible person, I think, because I would be literally corpsing if I saw this, because it's not just the fact that somebody fell off the chair or somebody broke the chair. It's the fact that 1, a giant fat dude broke the chair, right? And number 2, a giant fat dude at a Warhammer tournament. It's too good. Like, how are you not laughing? Like, I would be just, if this guy just waddles in to a tournament, I'm already giggling. Like, I'm not giggling at him. I'm not letting him see it, but inside, I'm like, oh my god. How can you not, man? Come on. Like, I'm such a terrible person. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Dude, like, thank God you said it, because I would. Again, this guy just waddles in, and already I have to turn away. I have to look at my models and just not make him uncomfortable by just having a little giggle to myself. I know that sounds horrible, but like, you know, when an actual real life meme walks in, do you know what I'm saying? That's when you... Anyway, I feel awful about it, especially considering everybody else's reaction, but it was just the way he fell over that was way too funny to me. Was it like the Family Guy meme when the fat guy just like, he's getting followed by Stewie with the trombone, and he just falls over. His models go everywhere. I'm such an ass. Oh my god. I'm so cruel, man. I ended up losing that game. Okay, well that's fine. You know, it's karma. Sadly, I narrowly dodged the wooden spoon by ending 1-4, winning my last game, the second of day 2. But that will always stay with me as my favourite memory from my first ever 40k tournament. As for that guy, I felt even worse when he thankfully returned on day 2 and seemed like a really nice guy. But it was an image I can't get out of my head, having me laughing whilst writing this. You're my spirit animal, Dan. You're sitting there just writing your emails, having a little chuckle. Anyway, cheers for all you do, North. Yours truly, Big Dan. I can't fault you, man. I can't. I want to fault you. I want to be like, dude, why are you laughing at those less fortunate than you? But, you know, unless you've got a thyroid problem, you know, or some other issue like that, being fat is something you can change, you know. I generally try not to laugh at somebody if they can't change something. So, you know, short kings, you know, whatever, man. You know, unless you're an arse about it, like if, you know, you get a short guy who's got Napoleon complex, then obviously, you know, all bets are off the table. But you know, short kings, you know, people with, you know, generally aren't that good looking, you just don't, right? Because they can't help that, man. You know, what are you doing? Having a go at somebody who's fat, who you know is just lazy, and is, you know, can easily change it if they just had the motivation. You know, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, because you never know how someone's going to react, right? If you know the person, though, like deep down, and you know a bit of tough love might help them, that's the time when you go, listen, dude, you know what I mean? Like, you need to sort that out. You know, to do it from a big brother perspective, you need to sort that out. Get to the gym. Get to the gym, sort yourself out, right? But somebody like this, again, if they're a nice guy, so you don't have a go at them to the face. Of course you don't. But if somebody walks into a tournament, you're at a Warhammer tournament, you're already feeling like, oh my god, I'm at a Warhammer tournament. Dude, I love the hobby, but you know what everybody else is going to be thinking, like, oh my god, he went to a Warhammer tournament, wow, okay, what was that like, you know what I mean? And then you see one of these in real life memes walk through the door, you just have to have a little chuckle to yourself, going, wow, you know, like, yeah, the meme has entered the room. It's that guy, you know, he's a big fat dude, you know, you can smell him before you see him, sort of a thing. Again, if you can change it, then you're not fair game, but like, you got less to complain about when people have a go at you, or when people, you know, again, you might have a thyroid problem, you might have depression, other issues. Got you, dude, and I'll always support you. If you need to lose weight, I'm always that mate who, I'll never have a go at you, but I will always, if you ask me for help, I'll dive in there. Be like, right, dude, let's get you to the gym. I'll go with you, no problem. You know, we'll go on the treadmill. We'll take it nice and slow, and we'll get you on you know, stop eating your carbs, and away you go. You know what I mean? But generally, I do believe having a go at somebody for something they can't control is a lot worse than having a go at somebody because they're fat. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what I was getting at. There's two different compartmentalized ways of insulting somebody there. Anyway, moving on. I feel awful, but moving on. Moving on. It's Liam again. Liam's back, folks. He says, howdy, North. Oh, it's an update. Fantastic. It's an update from the RPG horror story we had the other week. I love this. This is great. All right. It's Liam, and he says, howdy, North. It's Liam again. Funny thing you read my story out early, as it actually got me thinking about something I never asked. I also got some interesting answers. I'm not sure if it's really good content for a video, it is, but it is something that genuinely made me laugh. It's Friday at the time of writing, and we just finished our Vampire the Masquerade Sabbat game this week. Just as a refresher, since I don't know if and when you noticed this, but I wrote in about the Sabbat game of murder hobos being run by my friend Greg. Yeah, for those of you who remember that episode, I think it was Friday or Wednesday, a few weeks ago, maybe last week, I was able to join in and help turn it around. You mentioned a few times in your video that you would have just stopped the game and switched to D&D at some point. This got me thinking, and I actually asked Greg why he let them run wild for so long, and I learned something very interesting. Okay. Essentially, Greg told me that he, as the storyteller, was trying to run a story about the vampires losing their humanity and falling to the path of the beast, or finding another path of enlightenment. Alright? Path of enlightenment being the alternative morality of vampires. He let the party run around like lunatics for so long because they were acting like the beast, tanking humanity and regressing into feral animalistic blood-drinking predators. The problem was that he had to let it go so far that they couldn't really get hooked on any cohesive path going forwards. However, he didn't want to punish them since, as he says, they were playing their characters really well, with their dickish behaviour coming from paranoia, frenzy checks, and another source I'll explain in a moment. La Sombra hate ghouls, while Ventru use ghouls a lot, which is why they had issues with using ghouls. Also, this is, in fact, these players' first time ever playing Vampire the Masquerade. Alright, save myself, I'm one of the new gangrels. Okay, alright, well, again, Vampire, do you know in terms of role-playing games, you know, there are different levels of complexity in terms of the emotional maturity you need to have to play those games. I would put Vampire the Masquerade on the more advanced side, right? If you're not playing Vampire the Masquerade with responsible adults, you need to stop playing Vampire the Masquerade and go and play something else. It can get very dark and very upsetting very quickly. You know, the original rule books, not 5th edition, but the original rule books, I think it's 5th edition, can't remember, but the original rule books by White Wolf were all about that. They had content warnings at the start, saying, listen, if you don't like dark themes, if you might get triggered by... They didn't say triggered because that wasn't in the vocabulary back then. But if you might get upset by certain themes of, you know, exploitation and predatory behaviour, this game might not be for you. It needs to be played with responsible adults who value each other's mental well-being, right? And that's generally the case with Vampire the Masquerade now, you know. At the minute you are at a Vampire the Masquerade table and you get a whiff of a cretin, you know, of one of those players who's acting out some weird fantasies, but, you know, and using the game as a vector for that, leave, because at a Vampire the Masquerade game, that's going to only get worse, right? It's going to only get worse. There are tons of Vampire the Masquerade in real life roleplay that I really want to read out. I've had one or two videos, not videos, one or two Hobby Nightmare sent in that I really want to cover, but it's waiting for the right time. Anyway, when talking at the table, Discord FaceTime, I realised that they took really well to playing a pack of Orthodox Sabbat and fighting heretics. Their new characters were really cool, having lost their old ones in a big fight, and it really felt like they were unrelated to the murder hobos of old. Interpack and intercoven politics are an ongoing thing. The pack comes together to discuss ignobilis rite, and they generally play like the ideal Vampire the Masquerade party. Also, as a brief aside, since it seemed to cause confusion, Auctorus and Ignobilis Rite are the rituals the Sabbat use for ceremonies, events, and whatnot. There are 13 primary Auctorus Rite that are universal among the Sabbat. Ignobilis Rite are generally left up to the players and storyteller to make up as fits their pack. The players were all very invested in this and out of character, really happy about Carlos, my character, showing up and giving the pack some direction. Their new characters had a lot more going on and were eager members of the Orthodox pack, honouring the rituals and Voldery every Sunday. In short, these do not sound like the kind of people to turn a game into a blood-drinking murder hobo fantasyland. Curious, I asked them what they were thinking when they started. Apparently Greg, one of the players, pitched the game to them as an RPG version of 30 Days of Night, where you play new vampires in Vicente's pack, losing the last of your humanity. As they were starting out, they didn't want to appear weak to the other Sabbat packs, hence why they were so violent and confrontational. Since diablerizing weak vampires is expected in the Sabbat, they preferred being pariahs to prey. Alright, well, I'm starting to understand this now. Okay, I had no idea that diablerie was like something that you just do in the Sabbat. So diablerie, for those of you who don't know, I think I explained this last time, is when a vampire completely drains another vampire and takes on their life force, cannibalizes them essentially, right? You know, it's very, very taboo in Vampire the Masquerade, especially with the normal vampires. It's very taboo. Sabbat don't give a monkeys apparently, so they just go and do it anyway. Killing the Revenant family in the last episode actually made a bit of sense when La Sombra explained it to me, since he knew the Revenants were bred by the Simitsi. I'm going to say Simitsi now. since he knew that the Revenants were bred by the Tzimisce to serve the Tzimisce, and their enemy was a Tzimisce. Not to mention the idea that ghouls turning against their former master was something they had never considered and sounded unlikely, so they assumed that everything the Revenants did was to lull them into a trap. My point is, while they were acting like rampaging shovelheads, there was more logic involved in their actions than at first it seemed. Also, while we were playing V20, I think that's the latest version, right, of the game, Greg, and most storytellers I know, honestly, selectively include modern Vampire the Masquerade stuff when we run in the modern day. Since our game is in the year of Cain, 2025, the players went to the recent info on the Sabbat form V5. In case you are not aware, people hate the Sabbat in V5 for boiling them down to feral, blood-drinking, animalistic murder hobos who are lost to the beast and barely able to organise themselves into anything worthwhile. I am not joking when I say that. As we were talking about the V5 Sabbat, one of them turned to Greg and told him they liked how we homebrewed this religious and mystical focus into the Sabbat, since it made them sound way cooler than a bunch of vampire animals. Needless to say, Greg and I laughed and began explaining that everything we were doing since I joined was just another aspect of the Sabbat from the old V20 lore. It sounds like you've got a really good group starting to germinate here, which I like. Finding a good role-playing campaign group a lot of the time is more difficult than finding a wargaming group, right? In a wargaming group, everyone's pretty much there for the same thing. You're there to play war games. In a role-playing game, the goals are a lot more nebulous. You will have your that guys who want to just win the game, quote-unquote, you know. You'll have the main character syndrome people who think that their character's like the main character and everyone else is there just to support them. You have your over-the-top storytellers who want to just tell a story and not actually have the dice be involved at all, right? There are lots of different motives to getting to the table to play tabletop role-playing, so, you know, us wargamers do have it a lot better than they do in terms of finding a group, I suppose. Anyway. With the whole pack firmly on the path of the beast, learning to love and accept what they are, and meet their glorious purpose as the Sword of Cain, I actually considered what you said about Carlos kind of hijacking the entire campaign. It was something in the back of my mind, and the intent of Carlos was more to be a finger of God that wasn't just a DMPC, a Dungeon Master player character. After today's session, and the introduction of the new packmates, I actually offered to let Carlos go off towards the east, a way of retiring powerful vampires in the setting, and make a new, normal member of the pack like everybody else. Greg understood and was cool with this. Before I can ask what clans he is cool with, the Ventru interrupts and tells me, if Carlos leaves the pack, Lisa, my character, is walking too. Lisa being the name of her character. Apparently, the vinculum and Voldery extended to the players as well as everyone else was totally cool with keeping Carlos as the designated pack leader. One of the others even joked that he could listen to me rant and ramble about Cain, the blood, the beast, and the glorious purpose of heretics for hours. Alright. Once again, not sure if this is worth a read on the video. It was, man, yeah. But it's funny. It's a funny extension of what I sent to you the other day. I thought it was pleasant to note how things course corrected and how well the game is going. Happy gaming, Liam. No worries, man. Yeah, and you were right to send it in. Sometimes it's good to have these debriefs from such a violent story last time. Like, it was really, really in-depth, and people who like Vampire the Masquerade and role-playing games in general really got a lot out of that last time. There's lots of comments on the video, so thank you for sending in a follow-up. And please, if you guys have a follow-up to your Hobby Nightmare, and you can tell me on what day that the video came out, that your original Hobby Nightmare was read out on, send it in. Let us know how things are going, how things have changed, what's going on, right? An epilogue of sorts, or a sequel. I love those videos. We have the Our Advice section next, which we try to do in every video, and this one is from Steve the Phoenix Lord. Alright, hello Steve, how's it going? He says, Hoi North. This keeps happening, okay? I go on dates from dating apps. First mistake. The date goes well. Some of the time, we even end up kissing, and on one or two occasions, sleeping over. Alright, so you're doing quite well in your dating life, good. The woman then texts me a few days later saying the chemistry isn't there and she doesn't want to go on another date. Here is the thing. These have all been very nerdy chicks, which really kills me. I get along well with each of them whenever we've gone out. Each has been into Warhammer or D&D or both, and we have lots to talk about. Now just for context, here is a list, as I'm a man and I love a good list, don't we all? Number 1, I am a normal guy. These dates go very well with the woman laughing and flirting the entire way. I am always fooled into thinking this could be the start of a relationship. Alright? Number 2, my text game is good. I avoid subjects that might freak a girl out. I am honest and open about myself and always try to make their day a little better when we text. I do text them more than they text me though. I'm going to highlight that. I'll come back to that in a minute. Alright, number 3. I have a good job that is not very stressful. I actually own and run 3 hobby stores, with more on the way when I get planning permission. I have a very good means of income and the ability to support a family all on my own with 2 properties that I own. My partner would not need to work. Not that I ever bring that up, but there we are. Number 4, I'm a decent looking guy. Even my friends have noted that I should be getting action with the way I look and how I work out. Alright, I am not amazingly endowed. I guess that means your equipment. I'm not amazingly endowed, but I've been told I'm average, even by other dudes. How are other dudes? I'm guessing this is like locker room stuff, right? Every man's had this conversation. Hey, I'm this big, dude. Is that normal? Right? Yeah, that's fine. I've had that conversation with dudes in the past. Apparently 5 to 6 inches is normal. Yeah. That seems on the low end to me, but apparently that's normal. That's a normal piece of equipment. I dress well and smell good whenever I go on a date. Awesome. So what's going on, North? How do I close this deal? Steve from Phoenix. All right. I hope you haven't doxed yourself, Steve. I've heard Phoenix is a lovely city. Do you have any people who live in Phoenix? In the comments, let me know what it's like. I've heard it's nice. I'm looking for possible locations for Exile Fest 2, if we get to that. So yeah, I'm thinking Chicago right now because it's central-ish. But yeah, and I know Chicago, so but we can always talk about where else to go. I've heard Phoenix might be lovely. So okay. First of all, when you said you text them more than they text you, don't do that. Right? Don't be a dick, right? Don't be too aloof, but never, ever, ever go searching out a woman's attention, right? You have better things to do with your time, dude. And you actually do have better things to do with your time, right? You literally have a big business that you're running. Focus on that. Focus on your day. Don't make the really slippery slope, and I've seen loads of dudes do this. I've done this, right, before I learned. Don't make getting text from her the highlight of your day. It can be very easy for that to happen. I've known dudes who have been really good with women who've fallen down this trap, right? They start watching their phone, hoping it's going to go off. Because it gives them that endorphin rush. They're really happy, right? When you notice you're going down that route and you're feeling like that, stop looking. Put your phone in another room, right? Take your phone, put it. If you've got a safe at work, put it in the safe, right? Make sure your family's got your store number of where you are, right? Just in case of emergencies. But put your phone that you use to text her on in the safe and get on with your day. That's what I would do, right? And come back to it at lunchtime and come back to it when you go. But apart from that, no contact, right? If you text her and she doesn't respond, never ever follow up with a secondary text. Never do that. That's the golden rule, man. If you text a girl and she doesn't text you back, don't follow that up with another text to say, hey, did you get that last text? Or just following on from that point, or just to prod her to get her to text you back. Never ever do that. Alright? I understand how you're feeling. I understand you might like this girl, but if she's not putting in the effort, then fuck her, dude. Like, have pride in yourself. Have pride in yourself. You're worth more than what she's giving you. If she's not texting you back, then cast her off. Go, okay, bye. Don't tell her anything. Just ghost her. If she's ghosting you, don't text her. Just leave it. She might be busy. She might be busy. She might be doing something. It doesn't matter, right? And eventually, if she gets back to you, fine. I'm going to be like this, though. I've done this before in the past. If I'm texting a girl, right, and she doesn't text me back, and then when she does text me back, because I've just stopped texting her, it's later on, and she doesn't apologise or say, oh, I was just doing this, or I was doing that. If she just answers the question or responds to what I was saying, I just go, okay, fine, cool, and I respond to her, but you are now my friend. We're not romantic now. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not dealing with that. Right? I'm being honest, I'm not dealing with that. Like, every missus I've ever had, including the one I currently have, you text them, and even if they don't text you back for a while, they'll say, sorry, I was working. Anyway, yeah, we should do that this weekend, that's going to be really cool, right? If she just texts you back and goes, yeah, I might be available, yeah, or shit like that, dude, just call it. Have pride. Have dignity. I'm not stopping my entire day for you, sorry, no. Do not text her more than she texts you. Give back exactly what you get. And no more. Exactly what you get. When you're in a relationship, that's another thing entirely. But at the start of a relationship, give back what you get. You know. Number 3. What did he say? Yeah, you have a good job that's not very stressful. Well, that's good. Well, here's the thing, dude. You have all of the tools there that other men generally don't have. Right? You've literally got a really good job. You're doing quite well for yourself. You don't need a woman in your life. You don't need one. So, there's no rush. Dude, you can have kids until you're like 60. There's no rush for a man. Right? Your ovaries aren't going to shrivel up. You don't have any. So, just chill. Enjoy the fruits of your labour. Enjoy the fact that you run hobby stores. Enjoy the fact that you're dating. And by the way, you told me you were dating and you're sleeping over with a few of these girls. So you're doing really well. Like, you're actually getting out there, you're dating, you're having some fun, you're playing the field, sowing the wild oats and all that. You're killing it. You're killing it. So why are you so worried? Why are you in such a rush to settle down and get in a relationship? Okay? I'm telling you now. Sorry, there's somebody mowing the lawn outside, even though it's raining. Hope they get electrocuted. Obviously I don't, but whatever. Why are you in such a rush to move on? Like, you shouldn't. Enjoy. I'm telling you now, dude, if you got one of these girls pregnant, you better be using protection, by the way. Don't you be paying alimony to any of these. I'm telling you now. How do I put it? How do I put this? You should not be in a rush to get into a relationship, dude. You're in the prime of your life. You're killing it. You've got a really good job. You got multiple houses. You're obviously enjoying life. Then enjoy it. Stop and smell the roses, man. The relationships like this never come along when you try and force it. And get off the fucking dating apps. I swear to, if I get one more email from a dude saying, I'm on dating apps and things aren't working out, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. Right? They're a scam. Okay? For every one person you get with on a dating app who you actually have a nice time with and you actually have some fun with, there's about 20 other. Dating apps don't want you to succeed, dude. Right? The 5% of men at the top of the dating pool who are good looking, have really good jobs, they're getting all of the attention and you're getting the dregs. Everybody else is getting the dregs. I'm sorry, that's what you're getting. I'm very sorry, but that's the truth, right? Get off dating apps. I've known dudes to be on dating apps and get... It used to happen to me. You'd be on dating apps and you get no responses, right? But then you'd go out to a bar and you'd be turning heads because you look nice, you smell nice, you put effort into yourself, you got confidence, you're turning heads, you're getting numbers. You're getting numbers. You're getting numbers from women who are much better looking than the ones who are rejecting you on the dating apps. Don't use them. Don't use them. Develop your skills in the wild, gentlemen. Go to bars, go to restaurants, go to clubs. Right? Get your reps in. Talk to other human beings. Work on your social skills. Stop relying on these scam companies to maybe throw you a bone every once in a while. Nonsense. And don't you dare pay for them either. Don't do that. Apps or women. Right? Don't do that. those are the 2 bits of advice I have for you, dude. I know you were expecting me to say, well, to get a woman, you do this, that, and the other. No, you don't need a woman. Right? You need to tell your mind to shut the fuck up. That's what you need to do. Alright? You don't need a woman. You've got a hand, use it. And enjoy your life. That's my advice, okay? I'm not saying go your own way. I'm not saying any black pill bullshit, right? No, I'm not saying any of that. When the right one comes along, dive in with both feet. Absolutely. But get off the dating apps, right? Before you get a reputation, by the way, because if you're a store manager and you're dating nerds and you're on a dating app, that's a recipe for disaster. Get off the dating apps. If you're in a hobby store, you meet people every day. You will meet a woman in there, right? She's going to come along, man. And she'll come along when you least expect it. I always say this, build it and they will come. Literally. But no, build it and they will come. Build a life yourself. You're already on the way there. You build your own life. You get your own happiness squared away. You get your own happiness with its own foundations, so that you don't need a woman. If she walks away, you've got your how do I put it? Your happiness, your means. Your life doesn't change that much. She's an accoutrement to your life. She's an addition to your life that makes it even better. That's what you want. And you're well on the way to doing that. So stop being so hard on yourself. Get off the dating apps and smell the roses. Live your life, man. Enjoy the fact that you run several hobby stores and you're doing well for yourself with 2 properties. Dude, you're killing it. Enjoy your life. That's my advice. Alright? Enjoy your life. And then she will come along when she comes along. Stop trying to force the issue. It's only going to end in tears. Alright? Cool. Anyway, I love you a long time. I will speak to you tomorrow for some more 40k rantage, and I'll speak to you on Friday for some more hobby nightmares. If you have any hobby nightmares, make sure you send them in to hobbynightmares@gmail.com. That is hobbynightmares@gmail.com, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Have a good one. Bye now.